So food safety culture. We're going to talk about food safety culture. Now, what you might wonder is, what is that? What it is actually the values and norms that you operate within your businesses that show your mindset and behaviour towards food safety. Okay, so as being part of the Freshcare program and the Freshcare standards, we've been a key driver in keeping food safety front of mind for the Australian businesses in the fresh produce supply chain since our inception. We do that through making sure that businesses like yours embed continuous improvement. You promote being part of the Freshcare program and provide a management commitment to being part of the program. We give you a focus on training and development of yourselves and your workers and the application and implementation of the program across your entire business. So over here on the other side of the screen, we've got what we call a continuous improvement cycle. So you plan and implement the activity that you want to do. You document and record keep. You review and update. So you check that you're doing what you say you're going to do and make tweaks and update. You then go through and do your internal and external audits and assess. That shows you to yourself, but also gives you an independent oversight of how you're going. And then you go back and review and update again. Now you just keep doing that every day that you're operating your business. Okay. So a good food safety culture in your business protects consumers from foodborne illness. It protects the reputation of your business and your personal business and your personal reputation. And it can protect your business from financial loss. This is regardless of the size and the structure of your business. So it doesn't matter whether it's just you and your partner or your children helping you run your business, or whether you work for a very big business. That doesn't matter. Every business needs a good food safety culture. So removing negative behaviour is a factor in driving improvements to food safety culture. You guys thinking it will not happen to me, nothing has gone wrong before and I know what I'm doing, and there are more important matters to deal with apart from food safety, all need to be removed from the culture of the business for that business change to be a success. Now, and I'm sure SP's going to talk later, but a lot of his work over the last few years is very much focused on an industry that was brought to its knees because businesses thought that it would not happen to them and that they knew what they were doing. And that's, it's taken 2 or 3, probably 3 years now, 3 to 4 years to rebuild the trust in the industry. Okay, so you guys having training, which is what we can say that we're helping you with tonight, and giving you knowledge would not mean a change. So the key to long-term change in your businesses is through yourselves providing effective leadership, taking good proactive steps to address issues as you find them, engagement with all your employees or workers, regardless of whether you pay them directly or whether they're through a labour hire or other contract arrangement, and that everybody who comes onto your farm has a shared importance that they place on food safety and quality. Providing regular communications, education to your teams, and that could be just through, having a refocus every day before harvesting commences or before you have packing commence with your teams, through a quick 5-minute toolbox. measuring your performance, making sure that there's teamwork and every single person is accountable are vital to advancing a food safety culture. And as I said, it's not a one-size-fits-all approach. What works for some of you guys that are smaller may not work for larger ones. And I quite often use the Mulgowis and the Costas of the world, who also actually have many smaller operations residing within them. So, and we also then say a culture change within any business takes time, so don't rush it. So we at Freshcare, and through implementing the Freshcare program, help you achieve a food safety culture through promoting program ownership. So you guys being owners and taking a key interest in the Freshcare program, committing at a management level and showing that commitment by walking the same path as everybody else and doing the same thing in the same way that you would expect any other person in your business to do. Hazard and risk awareness. So knowing the hazards in regards to the operations of your farm and risks, and participating in workshops like you are this afternoon or this evening, because I'm in Sydney, give you that hazard and risk awareness and make you aware of what's going on. Having a focus on people within your business. We then provide you support resources to help you achieve that. And then you guys verify and continuously improve through your internal audit, through raising corrective actions if something goes wrong, and through your external audit process. Okay, so the next significant change for the Freshcare 4.2 is product identification and traceability. So what is product identification and traceability? It's knowing at any point in time through the supply chain where that product's come from and where it's going. Now, we talk about batches. Okay, so batches need to be a manageable quantity of produce relating to inputs and treatment supply. So it may be, a batch may be 10 bins, it may be a whole day's run, depending. There's no one size fits all approach here. Again, we don't want batches to be too small because it's too hard to track and keep records, but we don't want to be also trying to identify 2 to 3 days worth of harvest or packing. So generally we say anything broken down into, depending on your volume, broken down into, lots of bins, say 20 to 30, 10 bins, 20 bins, 30 bin lots, and then you start a new batch is good, or starting talking on a day's production or a day's harvesting. Okay, now to do traceability, what you need to do is to keep records of everything you harvest. And if there's any of you out there actually bring in other growers' product and include it in your own, or pack it off, have it packed off as a subcontract arrangement for others, you need to keep records of all that. If you send if you're a grower and you send your product to another business for packing, you need to also know what product you sent them and when you sent it. You need to mark packed product sent to customers. So those of you that are running packing operations, then you need to make sure that that packed product is sent and marked appropriately, and then keeping records of all the product that leaves your business. And then also, although not directly traceability, doing a product inspection before it leaves ensures that you're going to meet all your other customer and regulatory requirements as well. Okay. So the next thing is the product traceability system must be tested at least once a year. So what does that mean? It means that you need to be able to go back one step backwards and one step forwards to the next point in the chain. So if you're a grower, one step backwards also includes maybe any planting material that or seeds that you may have received. One step forward is, where are you sending that product? Is it packed product that's going into a retailer DC, or is it going into a market agent in the markets in Perth, or is it getting combined with and sent to another pack house for further processing? Depending on the destination of your supply, there may be other specific customer requirements to consider as part of the produce traceability review. And that in your cases is probably more related to the additional retailer requirements that you may need to address. Okay, so when you're doing the system review and the test, a record must be kept of that, okay? As usual, Freshcare have given you a traceability review and test form that you can use, but there's plenty of other methods out there. Electronic systems, QR coding, GS1 barcoding, lots of other systems that you can use. So as long as you've got some records to demonstrate, you know, where everything's come in and where it's gone out, that will satisfy what you need to do. Okay, so as a minimum, your system needs to be able to identify the points in the process where product has been handled. So there could be incoming seedlings or plants in any treatments applied if they've had treatments prior to coming to you. The date of planting and any location of planting. So using block or row identifiers and linking that to those planting records, sorry. Knowing any pre-harvest chemical and fertiliser applications and making sure your withholding periods have been met. Then moving on to harvest. So harvest records including the location of harvest, the crop or variety, the date that you harvested and how much you did harvest. If your product goes through post-harvest treatment, making sure you've got the records for those post-harvest treatments, again, including any chemicals used. Packing records, including the pack date or the batch identification that we talked about and quantity. Also, the packaging you've actually used. So if you're using film or flow wrap, if you're using cardboard, the records of packaging used, including the type, the date, and the quantity. If you've had to send out your product to another supplier for treatment, so for ripening or for fumigation or for packing, making sure you know where that is. And then the checks on product release and your dispatch. So who are you sending it on to? Where you're sending it on may be its final destination or it may not. Okay, so this is an example form that we've developed. We chose passion fruit for this example. So it addresses your site addresses here, any dates planted, particularly for vegetables. This is important. Where you're planting, so locations. Making sure a simple check that the spray diary has been checked and your withholding periods have been met for this particular batch. Records for any post-harvest treatments or not applicable. Okay, so then we've got the product harvested. So we harvested on this particular date and how much we harvested. Any other product we may have received from other growers. Then how much we packed. So in this case, we harvested one day and we actually packed the next day. And we packed 10 18-litre cartons and then 10 other cartons, no, 10 crates, sorry. One was a cardboard carton that used 10, and that quantity there matched up with the quantity that we packed, and it's got a batch code. And then we had 10 returnable, the SHEP returnable crates also with its identifier. We then dispatched both of those, and one of them went to 10 cartons went to Sarah's Cakes in Sydney, and 10 of the products went to Joe's Markets in Melbourne, as examples, with the consignment number and when we dispatched. So one of them we dispatched on the same day as we packed, as you can see. One of them, the Sarah's Cakes, we actually sent in the day after. So date of harvest was the 15th, the date of packing was the 16th, and we actually dispatched that on the 17th. Okay, and then we've signed off down the bottom that we've successfully traced the product. Okay, this is just another picture of where we link things through in harvest and packing records, batch numbers, back to farm maps in terms of, block identifiers. So this is going backwards. So the person at Freddy's Fruits got some stock that they want to trace. As the farmer, you've had to go back to the harvest and packing record and then back to planting and spray diaries. Okay, and this is an example of Mr. Freddy's Fruits and the consignment note that he's received that he's asking you to check on. All right, that's it for me. Except to say, for those of you that are required to do a mock recall as part of your retailer requirements, the traceability and mock recall exercises are the same. So we don't expect you to do it twice. You should be able to use your mock recall that you may do for your retailer requirements to demonstrate compliance to this part of the standard. So read your fact sheets, because we've put all that information in there, and you can ask Joel and Trin if you need any help, or ring us in Sydney. Thanks, Joel.
Thanks, mate.